Hi, this is Ian Troy, and we're here at Cortez, Colorado at the Ute Mountain Casino Bingo Hall for King of the Cage, Cold Forged. On this episode of In the Cage, I'm going to be talking to the unsung heroes of the MMA world, referees. Now, referees are stuck in the middle between the fans, the promoters, and the fighters, and they have to keep a fighter's safety in their mind at all times. With me right now is my guest, Mr. Raul Porrata. Raul, how are you today?
Good, and you? Good to see you.
Great to see you as well. Now, Raul, you're a black belt in Judo and Jiu-Jitsu, is that correct?
Yeah, Judo and Jiu-Jitsu and Kempo Karate.
And is that how you got your start being a referee?
I got my start as a referee in 1996 or 97 with Chris Cordero in Florida. He used to be the matchmaker for King of the Cage. That's how it all started at that time.
Would you say that your background in martial arts helped you or put you in a position where you were qualified to become a referee?
Well, tremendously. I grew up doing Kodokan Judo and a lot of groundwork as a kid, competing in Judo tournaments and Jiu-Jitsu, then working out with the Gracies. And, when I was in college in 94 and 95, my friends that practice martial arts came up to me and asked me to teach them Neiwasa or groundwork. And then after that, everything just took off and people kept wanting to use me for my expertise. I had judged and refed boxing, kickboxing, tough man contests. I had refed Judo and Jiu-Jitsu matches before I did MMA.
Now, reffing is, as I said in the intro, is one of the most difficult jobs in all of MMA. Let me ask you a question. What's your number one, list your priorities for me when you're in the cage refereeing a fight?
Well, I want to enforce the rules, but I also want to give the fighters the freedom. I want to get out of the way and let them display their skills. I'm not the center of attention. The fighters are, the center of attention. I want the fight to flow. I want the fighters to follow the rules, and if that happens, I just stay out of the way. It's their fight. If the fight is not flowing and if they're not following the rules, then it's my fight for me to control. But I don't want to be in control of the fight. I want the fighters to have their fight.
Very good. Now, Raul, I know that you were a coach at a gym for a number of years. You retired from that. What's next? What are you going to be? What do we see coming next from Raul Porrata?
I really love judging and reffing, training other officials, and being involved in MMA. Wherever the demand is, I want to be there, whatever I'm asked. I enjoyed being a teacher, but right now I'm just concentrating on being the best official that I can be.
Very good. Mr. Raul Porrata, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ian.
Herb Dean. Herb, thank you for taking the time, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me out, Ian.
Now, I was talking to Raul Porrata earlier, and I was asking him, where did you get your start? How did you become a referee?
Well, my coach was a referee. I used to work out, train with Larry Landless, and he was a referee. And in those days, we refereed a lot on Indian reservation casinos. So he would bring all of his guys who trained with him to do the job of inspector and things like that. And after that, I moved into refereeing after taking some seminars and training and shadowing Larry.
Okay. Now, as a referee, when you walk into the cage, list me, your top 3 priorities when you're reffing a fight in progress.
Oh, safety is the top priority. The integrity of the match, the integrity of the sport, making sure those rules are enforced and those rules are there for safety, and also making sure that the sport is clean and safe and has integrity. Let's see, the third priority is just, doing the best job I can.
Do you have any words of advice for any young referees who are maybe just starting out?
Maybe you might want to take a look at why you want to be a referee. Are you suited for it? The foremost thing I can say is that refereeing is a sacred trust. It's almost religious to me. People are putting their dreams and their hopes and their aspirations, and I'm in charge of what's going on in here. These guys, they put their will into my hands. When I tell them to stand up or do something, they do it without any question because they're gentlemen and they're athletes. And I believe that to be a sacred trust, and it should never be violated.
Earlier you touched on a subject that's key. In fact, it's one of the reasons why I started doing this, and that is integrity. What can MMA do as a sport, whether it be the fans or the fighters or even guys like myself? What can we do to increase the integrity of MMA as a sport?
Actually, I believe that MMA is doing fine just as it is as far as integrity. There's a lot of sports out there that are older, especially some of the other combat sports, that we have to labor under some of the stigma that they've already created. And we have to go through a lot of hoops to rectify the problems they have when they were never problems in our sport. Most of the guys who do this sport do it because they love it, and they're the best athletes in the world.
Very good, Herb. That was really all the time I wanted to take. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Herb Dean.
In the cage.